Some say Wayne Pearson's crazy.
The worst thing to call somebody is crazy is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
Don't take somebody else's word. Tune in and judge for yourself. The views expressed. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on Spreaker.com.
Hey guys, it's Mike the Lionheart Ryan here. Did you know that the odds of your child growing up with autism are now 1 in 68? Please help support the fight against autism by going to talkforautism.com and donate today. All proceeds will go to the National Autism Association. Talk for Autism, until every piece is found.
Good evening and welcome to the Deloach Approach. This is Lisa K. Hauser, and I am so glad you're with us tonight. Steve Deloach, our wonderful host, is in the process of leaving Guyana and heading home to the United States. And right now he's in Barbados and having all kinds of connectivity problems. So we've been trying to get him in here on our Skype line, and so far it just hasn't worked out real well. So I'm going to take the reins and we're going to run with it. I've got Nick, our producer, who's going to be helping me tonight, and I sure appreciate his help because it'll be my first time to try to run the show all by myself. We're hoping that Steve may be able to come in later on in the show, and if not, we're thinking of you, Steve, and know that you're down there in Barbados, sitting with your feet in the sand and wishing we were there too. So just a reminder, you can now find the Deloach Approach on TuneIn.com, YouTube.com, Spreaker.com, SoundCloud.com, and of course, WNLM.com/player. This WNLM address is a little different than what we've given you in the past, so be sure to add the /player after .com to get right to the show. And we are thrilled to have all these new platforms for the Deloach Approach and many, many new listeners. Welcome. We look forward to a long and exciting relationship with you. When you listen, we hope you'll hit the like button. That tells the platform we have listeners who are enjoying our content, and that is a very, very good thing. Nick, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Lisa. And, you know, it is a shame that Steve couldn't make it here. But, you know, he was saying before the broadcast that the beach was calling him. So
yes,
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe the lines got crossed. And I don't know. Hopefully he's having a good time there at the beach and everything else there. So, but, yeah, I'm thrilled to be here as well. And, I know we got an action-packed show coming up for the listeners here.
We do indeed. You know, I usually have between 25 and 30 pages of notes that we put together for every show, and today I think I sent you 58 pages. I told you my OCD kicked in a little bit today, so I don't know how much we're going to get through. We'll just do the best we can do.
That's right. But, you know, I mean, 58 pages, that just shows, you know, that just tells the listeners that, you know, there is a lot in the news that we got to cover. And, let's just start it right off the bat with, things that we just really don't have time to talk about.
Right. And the first story we've got that we don't have time to talk about, but we really need to talk about, is there was an announcement this week by President Carter that he has cancer. And, we are conservatives on this show, and we have often poked fun at the presidency of President Carter. He was rather ineffective as a president, but I tell you, he is a good man. A man of strong faith, and since his presidency, he has gone on to do some amazing things as a humanitarian. He's helped start Habitat for Humanity, and certainly he's done a tremendous amount of good work through them. He said that his cancer has spread to, he said yesterday that his cancer has spread to his brain, and he was going to be starting radiation treatments later yesterday evening after his announcement. He added that his fate was in the hands of God. He's 90 years old now. He held his news conference on his condition barely a week after announcing that he had undergone surgery for liver cancer. He appeared very calm, lucid. He said he is going to be cutting back dramatically on his schedule, of course, to receive treatment every 3 weeks after the doctors detected 4 very small spots of melanoma on his brain. And of course, melanoma is skin cancer. That's how it starts, is skin
Hmm.
cancer, and that's why we are really hearing more and more about skin cancer and the dangers of it and how important it is not to get sunburned and to use sunscreen on our children. And, when I was a kid, we just ran around and, as my mother said, got brown as a berry in the summertime. But
Right.
we're not
Yeah.
supposed to be letting our kids do that anymore.
We didn't have UV indexes and stuff back in the day. But for those of you that don't really know too much about President Carter, he served as president from 1977 to 1981 and became an active humanitarian, as you said, Lisa, and monitoring elections after he left office. He also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002.
That's right. That's right. He was a one-term president in the White House, and it was defined by national economic struggles, and he was very embarrassed by the Iran hostage crisis. He was asked on Thursday if he had any regrets, and he said he wished he'd sent one more helicopter in the failed attempt to rescue the Iran hostages, adding that he felt he would have been reelected had that effort succeeded. Of course, he was succeeded by Ronald Reagan, who defeated him in the 1980 presidential race. In a break from tradition, President Carter chose to deliver the news about his illness to the media himself. Often those are done by their spokespersons. But he arrived at the news conference at the nonprofit Carter Center in Atlanta walking normally, smiling, and he was wearing his trademark blue jeans. He said, "I am perfectly at ease with whatever comes." He said, noting his deep Christian faith, he said, "Now I feel this is in the hands of God." He said he was pleased that he did not become angry or despaired. He said, "I am ready for anything and looking forward to a new adventure. I have had an exciting and venturous and gratifying existence." And I think that's an amazing way to look at it. He said, initially, after receiving the brain cancer diagnosis, I thought I had just a few weeks left, but he added that he has remained hopeful. And we certainly remain hopeful for him. He and his wife, Rosalind, have been married many, many years. They have 3 sons and a daughter. They live in rural Plains, Georgia, about 150 miles south of Atlanta. He is a Baptist church deacon and has been for as long as I've known about him. He's always acted as a Baptist church deacon. He plans to continue teaching Sunday school at his church. He published his latest book last month. It's titled A Full Life, Reflections at 90. He said he received sympathy calls from President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, former Presidents Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, and Democratic presidential contender Hillary Clinton. He even managed to get a few moments of humor out of his announcement. He said when thanking his political colleagues, he laughed and said, "It was the first time they've called in a long time."
See that's how you just get people to call. You just get cancer, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. You
But
make a big announcement like that. That's right.
right.
So,
But and the thing is with President Carter, winning the Nobel Peace Prize, unlike some people that have won the Nobel Peace Prize, we won't name
yes,
names.
recently.
Yeah, recently,
Mhm.
he actually won it for something that he really did.
Yes, that's
So
right.
it was actually
Right.
valid that he got the Nobel Peace Prize, unlike well, Al Gore.
Absolutely. I
Al,
couldn't agree
yeah.
with you more. I thought something was interesting in the next story that we have coming up. One of the things that President Carter touched on was his long, long years of faith. And the next story we have is a Washington Post story about a new study that suggests that joining a religious group could do more for a person's sustained happiness than other forms of social participation, such as volunteering, playing sports, or taking a class.
Hmm.
A study in the American Journal of Epidemiology by researchers at the London School of Economics and Erasmus University Medical Center in the Netherlands found that the secret to sustained happiness lies in participation in religion. Well, now, Steve and I could have told you that because both of us are very deep, abiding faith. And of course, Steve is a missionary, and I'm a preacher's kid and was raised in church my whole life and have raised my kids in deep faith. And we certainly agree with this study. But it says the church appears to play a very important social role in keeping depression at bay and also as a coping mechanism during periods of illness in later life. Mauricio Avedano, an epidemiologist at LSE and an author of the study, said in a statement, "It is not clear to us how much this is about religion per se, or whether it may be about the sense of belonging and not being socially isolated." Researchers looked at 4 areas: volunteering or working with charity, taking educational courses, participating in religious organizations, and participating in a political or community organization. Of the 4, participating in a religious organization was the only social activity associated with sustained happiness, researchers found. The study analyzed 9,000 Europeans who were older than 50. The report that studied older Europeans also found that joining political or community organizations lost their benefits over time. In fact, the short-term benefits from those social connections often led to depressive symptoms later on. Although healthier people are more likely to volunteer, the researchers found no evidence that volunteering actually leads to better mental health. Benefits could be outweighed by other negative impacts of volunteering, such as stress. The researchers noted that it is unclear whether the benefits of participating in religious organizations is connected to being in the religious community or to the faith itself. Well, I'd say it's probably some of both. When you're in a close community of like-minded believers, you have the faith itself to lean on, to believe in, to sustain you, but you also have that community of believers that are there with you and walk with you through the times of crisis in your life and the times that you are joyful in your life, and that sustain you in joyful times and in sorrow times of sorrow. And so I think it's probably a combination of the two. It's not just one thing or the other. But I think, as much as we're hearing these days, we have all these people on the other side of the coin who are making a lot of hay about how it's all a big myth, that religions are a big myth, or that they're very dangerous, that there are people who are espousing this idea that religion in and of itself is an evil, and that it's probably caused more murders and death in the world and destruction in the world than any other common thing. Well, I think that we can look back and see that there has certainly been some evil done in the name of religion, but there's also been a tremendous amount of wonderful good that's been done in the name of religion, and it depends on the religion as well.
Right.
So,
Well, and I think with this study, I would lean more towards that. It's more belonging to a social group, more than the religion it is. I mean, obviously the religion is what brings the group together, but depending on what the religion is or whatever, like you said, I guess you just gotta go out and find your cup of tea, I guess, one way of
right.
putting it. So.
Right. Well, but if you have a deep abiding faith in something to believe in that keeps you going, that makes a huge difference in your life.
Right. Well, yeah,
I
and
can promise you that.
right, and whether
Yeah.
whether it be Christianity or Judaism or whatever.
Right. Right.
I know a few people that are pagan too. So,
Oh, yes.
and
Absolutely.
and they get together and have social groups and socials or whatever, and it's a great place to meet and share ideas and talk amongst your fellow man or woman.
hmm Now, on the flip side of the coin, the
Yeah.
next story we've got,
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
there,
These people didn't. Yeah, these people didn't have a religious or social group or anything like that.
well, it apparently looks like there is there is a different side to every argument. At least 17 people were injured in an overcrowded German refugee shelter after one resident tore pages out of a Quran. Around 20 refugees chased the Afghan man who damaged the Muslim holy book and threw the discarded pages into the toilet. We don't know why he did that. It doesn't say why he did it in this particular story, but it came from the Daily Mail. And he was eventually saved by the shelter's guards, who which prompted the mob, according to the local media, who were mainly Syrian men, to turn their anger on this camp security team, at which point more than 50 men armed themselves with steel rods and began throwing rocks at the guards and policemen. It comes among high tensions in Germany as the country prepares to host 800,000 asylum seekers this year. I see Steve Deloach just sending us messages. What is he having to say? I can't read his.